Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. I am Dr. Sadia Zafar and today we will discuss about
The conservation of biodiversity.
as we have discussed in detail about the biodiversity, and we know that biodiversity is so important for us and we cannot survive without the biodiversity, as we are getting many benefits from the biodiversity directly or indirectly. There are many factors that are affecting the biodiversity, or in other words, they are causing the biodiversity loss. So that that is dangerous for the survival of the overall living organisms or the is ecosystem, and also is threat to the survival of human. So we should take some steps for prevention of biodiversity loss, and we should conserve the biodiversity. Methods of biodiversity conservation. Biodiversity refers to the variety of all life forms on the earth, including the different plants, animals, microorganisms, genes they contain, and the ecosystem. And the conservation means the sustainable use of resources and encompasses the protection as well as the exploitation. So the conservation of biodiversity is the conservation in which protection, preservation, management or restoration of wildlife and natural resources occurs, such as the forest and water. Through the conservation of biodiversity and survival of many species and habitats which are threatened due to human activities can be ensured. There is an urgent need not only to manage and conserve the biotic wealth but also restore the degraded ecosystems. Why we have to conserve the biodiversity? Humans need biodiversity to survive. We must protect the nature from the consequences of our population growth and thoughtless consumption. Otherwise, nature will bite back in ways we will not like. The stakes are too much high and the problem too urgent to waste time in the denial or avoiding the issue. There are two methods for the conservation of biodiversity. One is the in situ conservation and another method is the ex situ conservation. Basically, biodiversity conservation is divided into main two types, the in situ conservation and ex situ conservation. In situ conservation is further divided into two main groups, the protected areas like the national parks, sanctuaries, biosphere reserves, and the second is the secured forest and lakes. And the second type is the ex situ conservation, that is further divided into seed bank, gene bank, long-term captive breedings, animal translocations, tissue culture banks, cryopreservation of gametes and embryos, botanical gardens, and zoos or zoological gardens. First of all, we will discuss the first type of biodiversity conservation, that is in situ conservation. In situ conservation is on-site conservation or the conservation of genetic resources in natural populations of plants and animal species such as forest genetic resources in natural populations of tree species. And in situ conservation is the process of protecting an endangered plant or animal species in its natural habitat, either by protecting or cleaning up the habitat itself or by defending the species from predators. In situ conservation is applied to, to the conservation of agricultural biodiversity in agroforestry by farmers, especially those using unconventional farming practices. In situ conservation is being done by declaring area as protected area. What is in situ conservation? The in situ conservation refers to the conservation of ecosystem and natural habitats, including the maintenance and recovery of viable populations of species in their natural habitats. Means we conserve the biodiversity in their natural habitat, in their homes, in their native area or region. Scared groves and lakes, biosphere reserves, national parks, wildlife and sanctuaries. These are the common example of in situ conservation. Protected areas are the locations which receives the protection because of their environmental, cultural or similar values. According to IUCN, an area of land and or sea especially dedicated to the protection and maintenance of biodiversity and of natural and associated cultural resources and managed through the legal or other effective means. There are some protected areas present in Pakistan. National parks are the types of in situ conservation, and the national park is an area which is strictly reserved for the betterment of wildlife and where activities like forestry, grazing on cultivation are not permitted. In these parks, even private ownership rights are not allowed. Their boundaries are well marked and are usually small reserve spreading in an area of 100 square kilometer to 500 square kilometer. In national parks, main emphasis is on the preservation of a single plant or animal species. National parks. No human activity or settlement, no grazing of animals, and strict rules about the jungle produced collection. And in Pakistan about 29 national parks are present. Here are some national parks that are present in Pakistan like Ayodhya, Brokil Valley, Central Karakoram, Chinji, Chitral Pole, Deosai, Fairy Meadows, Kithar, Lal Sohanra, Lalusar Dodi, Machiara, Markla Hills, Anchal, Mastan, Saiful Malook, Sheikh Bahauddin, Toli Pir, Mangalore Wild, Hazar Ganji Chiltan, Hingol and Khujrab. These are the national parks that are present in Pakistan. Here is the picture of Central Karakoram in Gilgit-Baltistan is currently largest park in the Pakistan. This picture is representing the Ajubia National Park, and this is Hazar Ganji Jiltan National Park. This figure is the Lal Sohana National Park. There is Chitral National Wildlife Sanctuaries. It is another type of the in situ conservation, and wildlife sanctuary is a protected area which is reserved for the conservation of only animals and human activities like harvesting of timber, collecting minor forest products, and private ownership rights are allowed as long as they don't interfere with well-being of animals, and the boundaries of sanctuaries are not well defined, and controlled biotic interference is permitted. For example, the tourist activity that is allowed in the wildlife sanctuaries. Wildlife sanctuaries. People are not allowed to live, but some human activities are allowed, like grazing, firewood collection, etc. And tourism is permitted. A sanctuary is upgraded as national park, but a national park is not downgraded as sanctuary. In Pakistan, around 63 wildlife sanctuaries are present. There are some wildlife sanctuaries that are present in Pakistan like Bajwat Wildlife Sanctuary, Baltistan Wildlife Sanctuary, Cholistan, Hub Dam Islamabad, Astor, Chashma Lake, Chambi, Surla, Liari Nature Park, Naltar and Nara Desert, and Run of Kutch. Bajwat Wildlife Sanctuary that is present along the Chenab River in Sialkot district, and 101 species of the birds are recorded there. Most common species is Mota cilidae, and the Bajwat Wildlife Sanctuaries cover area of 5,400 hectares. Baltistan Wildlife Sanctuary that covers 415 square kilometer areas and present in northern region of Pakistan. It was established in 1975, and threatened species in the park are snow leopard, brown bear, lynx, and many other animals. Hub Dam Islamabad that covers 27219 hectare areas and was established in 1974. This is favorable for feeding and nesting for some birds. Biosphere reserves are is a type of in situ conservation. It is a special category of protected areas where human population also forms a part of the system. Biosphere reserves are large protected areas of usually more than 5,000 square kilometer, and a biosphere reserve has three parts or core, buffer and transition zone. First is the core zone, that is the inner zone. It is undisturbed or legally protected area. And the second is buffer zone, that lies between the core and transition zone. Some research and educational activities are permitted in the buffer zone, while in the transition zone, that is the outermost part of the biosphere reserve, here cropping, forestry, recreation, fishery and other activities are allowed. There are main three functions of the biodiversity reserve, which are the conservation of biodiversity, means overall biodiversity, that ensure the conservation of ecosystem, species and genetic resources. And the second main function is the development, that promote the economic development while maintaining the cultural, social and ecological identity. And the third main function of biodiversity reserve is the scientific research, that provide the support for research related to monitoring and education, local, national and global issues. Biosphere reserves serve in some ways as living laboratories for testing out and demonstrating the integrated management of the land, water and biodiversity. Biosphere reserve cover very large areas, often more than 5,000 square kilometer. They are used to protect the species for a long time, and people are allowed to live there. This figure is representing the Pallas Valley, that is in Lower Kohistan district. This figure is representing the Ziyarat forest. What are game reserves? Game reserve is an area where shooting and hunting of wild animals is regulated under permit. The number of shoots allowed to the reserves varies and is determined by the provincial government. And had, for example, the head Hyderabad and Machera. These are the game reserves. Natural monuments, protected area managed mainly for conservation of specific natural features, which can be explained as an area containing one or more specific natural cultural feature which is of outstanding or unique value because of its inherent rarity, representative or aesthetic qualities or cultural significance. There are some natural monuments. This is the Paradise Point. This is Kashmir Must. This is Hingol Mud Volcano. This is the Chitarvata Formation. This is Chandragupta, and this is Bazaar Caves. Community Reserve. It is the type of protected area introduced in Wildlife Protection Amendment Act 2002 to provide the legal support to community or privately owned reserves which cannot be designated as national part of wildlife sanctuary. Secret groves. Segment of land containing vegetation, life form and geographical features delimited and protected by human societies under the belief that to keep them in a relatively undistributed state is expression of an important relationship of humans with the divine or with the nature. Secret groves are conserved on the basis of religion, faith, and belief of community. These are the small patches of forest or natural vegetation dedicated by the local communities to ancestral spirit or deities and have traditional means of burial. There are some secret groves in the world. Ghana in West Africa, Niamey Dua, that is the God's tree, have healing power. Monkeys and leopards, and the Asu Akosua stream in the Ashanti region is protected because local beliefs is it is the home of a female deity. Not only is farming around the stream forbidden, but also anything that might pollute the water like washing clothes, etc. Another example of scared grove is Anveem Scared Grove that is present in Sukaka Forest Reserve, and another UNESCO project focused on Anveem Scared Grove, as Anveem is ancestral home and burial ground of the royal family. Although whole community was relocated when forest reserve was established in 1930s. Gene Sanctuary. A gene sanctuary is an area where the plants are conserved. It includes both biosphere reserve as well as national parks. Efforts are also being made to set up the gene sanctuaries for bananas, sugarcane, rice, and mangoes. There are some examples of gene sanctuaries. In Ethiopia, gene sanctuaries for conservation of wildlife relatives of coffee was set up in 1984, and India has set up its first gene sanctuary in Garo Hills of Assam for wild relatives of citrus. There are some advantages of gene sanctuaries. Firstly, it protects the loss of genetic diversity caused by human intervention. Secondly, it allows natural selection and evolution to operate. And there are some disadvantages of gene sanctuaries. Firstly, entire variability of a crop sciences cannot conserve, and secondly, it, its maintenance and establishment is a difficult task. It is a very good method for in situ conservation. Advantages of in situ conservation. The flora and fauna live in natural habitats without human interference. The life cycles of organisms and their evolution progresses in a natural way. And in situ conservation provides the required green cover and its associated benefits to our environment. It is less expensive and easy to manage. And in situ conservation interests of the indigenous people are also protected. So this is all about the in situ conservation, and in next lecture we will discuss about the ex situ conservation. We will discuss more about the methods of conservation of biodiversity in next lecture. There are some references, and thank you so much for your kind attention.